So you have reached a point where you want to start a poultry farm, but you are not sure of which breed should you start with. Is it the local birds? Is it the broilers? Is it the layers? Is it the improved birds? So your mind is just clicking left and right. You don't know which one you should go with. So in today's video, we are going to be talking about broilers and then the layers. Which one is better for someone to start with? Because we all want money at the end of it. So which one is better, the broilers or the layers? First is that broilers, these are birds that are specifically kept for meat. These are the broilers that we actually get, like the day-old broilers. But in a notch higher, there are broiler breeders which are kept just to produce the broiler birds which we sell. So I think you're not after that. You want the day-old broilers which are kept just for meat. These birds are normally kept for 2 months maximum. But I'm seeing some farmers doing 35 days. The birds have now gotten the market weight which a farmer requires. So those are the broilers. They grow very, very fast. Just in a short period of time, the birds have grown. And then the rate at which these birds convert the feeds into making their body is relatively very, very high. So that's a brief definition of the broilers. And normally they are white in color. So the layers, these are the birds that are kept just to lay eggs. And this is the type of the birds that we are having currently on the farm. I think I should show you how the birds are doing. Today is actually day 13 of us brooding 1,000 layer birds. So let me first try how these birds are doing. So guys, I had to buy this little sprayer here besides the big one, because we have the big one there. So this one here, whenever I'm from out and then I come, I make sure that I spray myself, like my clothes, with it. Besides the food dip, it will also help us so much, of course, in terms of diseases. So once again, this is the litter. So in here we have 1,000 layer birds. I mean, they are less by 6, because we had some mortalities, and the birds are actually doing great. Look at them. First try to get in. There is no perfect door, so we have to maneuver around. So these are the birds. These birds, we are vaccinating them tomorrow against gumboro. That is at week 2. By week 2, we should give them gumboro vaccine, and then week 3 as well. So these birds are, I have to say that if not anything, they are left with a week or so to get done with the brooding. You can see how the birds are doing. The birds are fine. The birds have really grown up. But guys, these birds eat. They eat like nothing. So you can see that we have raised the tents, the sides over here, so that the birds can get enough air for them. So you can see how they are doing. So basically, the birds are fine. And then when you try to look at our farm book, the mortalities have really dropped. Like for the past 3 days, we haven't had any mortality at all. So the birds are just, I think mortalities are high during the first week, because most of the birds will be stressed, most of the birds will be weak, and then others, cannot cope up with the situation. So during the course of the week, you may lose some birds, and then after that, the birds which would have remained, those will be now the strong birds, So the chances of those birds which have remained or which have passed the 1 week to die, the chances are really, really low. Maybe if now you get a disease, but obviously it is hard for them to die. So they may die. I'm not saying that they cannot die after a week. They may die, but the rate at which they die is not compared to those ones which die during the first week. So basically, these are the birds. These are layer birds. Issa brown. That's the breed. So the birds are really doing fine, really fine. You can take a look at them. So over here you can see our temperature, whatever. I don't know how they call it. So this is what we use to measure the required temperature needed in the house. At this stage, we should be, I think, 30 degrees Celsius. So this is 29.5, much as we have opened the curtains. So you can see that if we had closed it, it would be hot for the birds. And these birds really love the light, guys. They love the light. The moment, let's say, I open the curtains, you will see them jumping on and off inside here. So they really love the light so much. So this is actually a brief about how our birds are actually doing. So the topic was that broilers and then layers, which one is better? First of all, I would start with the time. The broilers take maximum 2 months, that's 8 weeks, for the birds to be ready for sale. Meanwhile, the layers take up to 17 weeks to start laying, or for you to start seeing an egg out of them. So these are 2 weeks, meaning that we are left with 15 to 16 weeks for us to see an egg from this bird. So you can see that it is quite long, you know. So all this time we have to be investing in the feeds. That's number one, with the duration which these birds take. So if you are somebody there who wants actually quick money, then I suggest you should go for the broilers, because in 2 months you have gotten your money. That's number one. Even not 2 months, because I've seen some farmers, like I said earlier, 38 days, 40 days, you now have your birds ready for sale, depending on the target weight which you're actually targeting. That's number one. And then number two is the cost of production. Let me start with the building. This building over here measures 6 meters by 20 meters. That's for the layers. And then it can accommodate 1,000 birds. That's if you're taking layers. But if you're taking broilers, this poultry house is going to take twice the number of the layers that are in here. Meaning that on a 6 meters by 20 meters, we are going to keep up to 2,000 broilers in here. So that's number one. Meaning that if you want to keep, let's say, 500 broilers, you will need half of this building. So that way, I think broilers are a little bit cheap compared to the layers in terms of constructing the poultry house. When you come to the birds themselves, I bought these layer birds at 5,000 Ugandan shillings each bird. And when it comes to the broilers are actually given at 2,500 to 3,000. So you can see that they are a little bit cheaper. That's another point, meaning that the broilers are still taking up the share in the business. Now, somebody may ask that what about the profits between the broilers and then the layers? Guys, the broilers, let me first try to break it down. In my country, broilers, like, let's say if you keep the broilers up to a point where you can sell them, they are normally sold at a range of 10,000 to 15,000 Uganda shillings. And then when it comes to the layers lay approximately 320 to 330 eggs in their lifetime. It actually depends on the breed of the birds that you have. Others can lay below that and others can lay over that. So here comes it. The layers, the only problem that the layers have is that they require capital, guys. They require money. I think that is why most poultry farmers end up giving up on the layers, because let's say that you plan to get 1,000 birds like these ones, and then eventually you get them you start feeding them. 1 month, the second month, remember these birds are growing, and then the rate at which they eat is increasing day in, every day. I mean, like, the rate at which they eat increases, like in number of kilograms, which means that you have to put in money for the feeds every day, and then it will be increasing. Like, let's say you buy the feeds at 1M today, like for 2 weeks. The next week, you may buy them at 2 million. Another week at 3 million. So it will be increasing as the birds grow. But the good thing is that immediately these birds start to lay, you won't be injecting money into them anymore. You won't. Because these birds will now be feeding themselves for the entire 2 years. So the only time that you have to inject money is when you, let's say from day 1 up to week 17, week 18, let's say week 20. Because from week 17, that's when they start to lay. Like, they start to lay like 1, 2, 3 eggs, and then they start increasing as the weeks go by. Layer birds don't start to lay like at once, or like at once, like let's say I'm having 1,000 birds, they all start to lay at week 17. No. We may have others starting to lay at week 17, others at week 18, but probably by week 19 or 20, that's when all the birds are now laying. That is when even you will stop injecting the money in the farm. But the good thing is that you will be getting money every day for 2 years, meaning that if you are to compare it with the broilers, you will find that the layers are a little bit better when it comes to the profits. So I think with this hint, you can now make up your mind on which breed you want to go with.